Hey everyone, Thomas here again with another DIY video. This is another no-hang device, but it's actually a combo no-hang and portable hangboard device. So I know I did a previous video kind of detailing another version that I made and I've been using a decent amount. But I noticed in that video, I didn't have any good footage of me actually making it, so it was kind of hard to just talk through. But I also used a lot of specialized tools that people might not have. So I wanted to try to make one that doubles as a no-hang device or as a portable hangboard. So I made two of these. But also I wanted to make one that was a little bit easier to do and could be done using a variety of tools. So I might have used some more advanced tools that people might not have, but I tried to give some options there. So this one um, is you can see it's very simple, very compact. It actually has two edges, so it has a 17 mil edge and then a also 17 mil, but very slopey half-inch radius edge. So I wanted to try to do that, make like this kind of symmetrical one that you can flip. You can also pinch it. It's a little bit of a narrow pinch, but it does work pretty well. And then the other thing that I thought would be cool is if you're hanging it as a portable hangboard, you can also use the top as like a kind of like rings, like a pull-up bar, and it works pretty well. I was debating rounding the edges even more, but this is actually pretty comfortable. And then because the edges aren't rounded anymore, it means that you can still use it as a pinch, and it's a good, tough pinch. Um, so anyway, I will cut over to the actual DIY footage, and we'll go over kind of how I went through and made it, and maybe why I made some of the decisions that I did.
All right, so first is the choice of wood. So I used 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood, and I think this is a pretty important one. You can see from the footage here that it has a lot more layers than normal plywood, and there are a lot fewer voids. I feel like these make actually really good holds because they're very sturdy, very stable. Don't have to worry about grain direction. But also, it kind of all the different layers provide a little bit of a natural kind of texture. So I would highly recommend using this. I just had some scrap pieces laying around. So now on to cutting. So like promised, I'm trying to give you a few different options. You can use either a jigsaw, like I'm showing here, even a handsaw would work fine. I've definitely done that before, but I do have access to a table saw, so I have it, might as well use it. So again, I'm just quickly trimming these up. Like I said, I am making two of these. So I'm cutting four pieces. Both holds will be two glued together. Then I'm cutting them to length here with a chop saw. Same thing, you could use any real saw. It's not terribly difficult to do. And then you'll see I'm kind of demonstrating the size of the pieces. So again, it's a 3/4 inch Baltic birch. They're about 6 inches in length. Um, and then a little bit less, they're about 2.5 inches. I trimmed them a little bit more. And then these ones, they wind up being a little bit less than 3/4, just stock. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. So now I'm just marking up the pieces that I'm going to cut. So one of these, for each of these holes, one of them will just be the standard rectangle. But I'm going to cut a hole before I glue them together, going to cut the slot for the actual hold. So I'm just marking everything up here that I need to do. It's not terribly difficult to do. I'm using a few different little things that I have laying around. But obviously just measure twice, cut once, that all that jazz will be helpful when you're doing this kind of thing. So you can see I am showing the dimensions here. I am leaving uh, the about 3/4 inches from the edge of the slot to the edge of the actual hold. Um, then the slot itself is about an inch wide, and then the center is about 1.5 where I'm actually going to drill the like side hole. So again, for drilling the holes, a few different options. You can use a power drill. I have a drill press. You could even use a hand drill if you really want to. Um, but here I'm just cutting the holes that will be the edges of the slot, just to give it a bit of a nice rounded uh, look. So here now I just need to cut out the middle here. Again, a few different options, coping saw, a little hand saw. I have a jigsaw here. And this one is really important, maybe a little bit more than you might think to focus on. So for the jigsaw, just really make sure that you're not pushing it side to side. It's very easy for the jigsaw to make either the edge more slopey or more in cut, basically the blade kind of flexing. So just be careful. Um, Now, in terms of giving it a nice radius on the edge, so you could easily use sandpaper, any kind of sander. I have a router that I'm going to use it with, mostly because I need more practice with the router, kind of have a love-hate relationship with the thing. But honestly, it would not be uh, very much different if you just used a sander, either by hand or a power sander. Even like a Dremel tool would be fine too, but I just wanted to do this. For the main edge, I used a 1/4 inch radius. I find that is a really comfortable one for like a flat edge. And I just went around and did the whole thing. Now I'm just cleaning up the outside, giving it again a radius on the outside of everything. You can easily, again, use sandpaper, that's fine. And then I wanted to do this other radius, the 1/2 inch, so I could flip it and have a slopier one. It was mostly an experiment. So here for the glue up, just gluing everything together, clamping it as best as I could. I left it for 2 hours, and it's kind of important that you don't let it dry completely in the clamps, and I'll kind of show why. It's not a terrible thing if you do that and forget, um, but the main thing is you want to have the glue be a tiny bit wet so you can clean it up. You can see there's always going to be some squeeze out with the glue. And if it's a little bit kind of, still not fully wet, but like gooey, it makes the cleanup a lot easier. The main thing is this inside bit. It's much easier to sand the outside to get the glue off, but you really want that inside to be comfortable and not have like a big glue blob when you're grabbing. So now I'm doing the attachment points. I chose to use to make these slots. I don't think they're that necessary. You could easily do just a hole in the middle. The slots make it so that when you flip it, or whenever you're using it, the attachment point is closer to the edge, so it makes it feel a bit more stable. And also, when you're doing pull-ups and stuff, it means that your hand has a bit more room, and again, it's more stable. The other thing I wanted to do is cut these little notches, and I'll kind of show a little bit later why. Um, and then I just go through and clean things up as best as I can, just kind of sanding everything down, making sure it's smooth. Don't want it to be too smooth if you want, especially if you want to use it for a pinch. Um, but just kind of, I think I was using like 120 grit sandpaper here just to clean everything up and get rid of the burn marks from my bad routing. The last bit I wanted to do was make a little insert so I can make the edges smaller. And unfortunately, I don't have great footage of me cutting it, but I just traced a little area for the insert, and it's just 1/4 inch oak. And I'm just sanding off a little bit here to make it easier to remove. So you can see here it fits in pretty well, but it might be hard to get out. So that little angled edge means I can push on it and it will pop out a little bit easier. So that was kind of a cool little thing I wanted to do, especially for the actual portable hangboard. So now I'm just using some, I think it was 6 millimeter cord here to put it all in, just using a double fisherman as usual. And then I'll show you here why I cut those notches. So this is pretty standard stuff. Um, and then when we're attaching it, we'll just use what we did before. But those notches kind of help it, if you're using it as a pinch, they kind of help it naturally fit right in the middle. And just that little notch is enough to keep the cord in place. So here are just a few options for actually using it. I had another video on the actual no-hang training, but you can see here is the standard edge. Again, it's 17 millimeters about, a little bit more, but I think after sanding it down and cleaning things up, it winds up being about 17 millimeters. It feels really nice. I think it actually feels even more stable than that other one that I made, and I think it's probably because that attachment point is closer to the edge. Here is uh, also the edge, another exercise I've been doing, these kind of eccentric or concentric finger curls, which have been kind of nice to try out. Here's me trying the slopey edge, which is, to be honest, a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. but I think it would be good for like that three hand or that three finger open hand training. And then again, the pinch, because it's a bit, it's not as deep as the other one, it's only two pieces of plywood, it's pretty tough. I think that'll be kind of decent for pinch training. You can see here is rough to actually um, get off the ground here, but it works. And I think I'll probably still use the other one for true pinch training, but these will work, in a pinch. So here I'm testing out the options that I have for an actual portable hangboard setup. So I just got a couple of kind of tie-down straps, just from Amazon, just some inch wide ones, small ones, um, and I'm just hanging it from a tree in my backyard, and they work really well. So these are the edges, the decent edges to use. You can see the setup isn't terrible. It's a bit fiddly to do. I'm trying out here again the hard one, and like I said before, especially when it is free hanging like this, it's pretty hard to hang. I can't imagine really trying it with the insert that makes it even smaller. But anyway, I think that'll be a decent challenge. And then if you if you want to do it hang it in the way that's not quite as stable like we do for the no hang, it gives you some more options. So you have the pull up option, like kind of like portable rings, and then it also means you can much more easily flip them back and forth like I did here. Um, so if you're doing like quick back and forth things, you can flip them and you know you can have access to both edges pretty easily if you need to. So anyway, yeah, that is it on this no hang device. Please let me know if anything was unclear or if you have any questions. I really like this one. It's nice and compact, has exactly what I need. 17 millimeters is mostly for convenience because that is the thickness of the wood that I was using. But also it's a pretty good size. Like I think in general, uh, that is a good edge to use for no hang training, as well as hangboard training. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with it. Hopefully this helps some people out. Let me know for sure if you make any of these or if you have any other improvements that you might make. That would be cool. I'm always up for trying yet another version. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.